Lytudiep greets everyone, wishing you all good health and peace with your family. Mom. A gentle and emotional saying that any woman would want to hear. Today. Diep could not hold back her tears when Nee suddenly exclaimed and called Diep Mom. There was no more distance. No more hesitation. She hugged Nee deeply. That was the feeling of a woman towards her own child. Jame also felt it and did not want Nee to leave anymore. They lived happily together, but unfortunately, Jame had to face having to leave them again. The story turned out badly. Do you advise Jame to stay with them? Let's follow along today. That morning, sunlight streamed gently through the leaves, and a soft breeze carried the scent of wildflowers and ripe fruit. Diep, a slender but strong woman, quietly stepped into the pear orchard behind her house. With practiced hands, she plucked each ripe fruit and placed it carefully into her old but clean basket. Her eyes held a calm focus, and her lips curved into a gentle smile as she greeted the camera. Hello everyone. Today I'm harvesting pears to sell at the market. Hope you enjoy watching. A simple, sincere greeting, nothing extravagant, but it carried warmth, honesty, and a glimpse into the quiet rhythm of her life. Behind her gentle appearance was a story of survival. A woman carving out a life not just for herself, but for the child who had come to depend on her. Elsewhere in the quiet village, James, a foreign man with soft eyes and an endearing Vietnamese accent, was at home taking care of little Nee. She was a curious, bright-eyed girl who had endured more than any child should. But she smiled like someone still holding on to hope. James cooked lunch, tidied up, and patiently sat beside her, showing her how to color. He gently corrected her posture, taught her how to open and close watercolors properly, and how to turn the sketchbook instead of bending her back. He wasn't just looking after her, he was teaching her, caring for her, building something no one had ever offered her before: stability. Together, they filled the room with drawings: a shark, an octopus, a whale, floating flowers. James praised each one like it was a masterpiece. You color beautifully, Nee, he told her with pride in his voice. Later that afternoon, when Diep returned home, her face flushed from the sun and the weight of her errands, she was greeted with the sight of her two most beloved people laughing together. She thanked James, not just for watching Nee, but for making their home feel full. They cooked dinner together, sharing quiet glances, inside jokes, and the unspoken warmth of a connection that was slowly deepening. That evening, as the food simmered on the stove and the scent of boiled chicken filled the air, the three sat around a small dinner table. Before eating, James led a simple prayer in a mixture of English and Vietnamese, teaching Nee to thank God for the meal and ask for strength and health. It was a modest meal, but love filled every bite. Then, quietly, James turned to Nee and asked, "Do you love Miss Diep?" "Yes," she replied, without hesitation. "If you call her Mom from now on, would that be okay?" "Yes." "Then say it, Mom." The room fell still. Diep's hands trembled as she reached out and gently held Nee's tiny fingers. Her voice broke with emotion. "Thank you for calling me Mom. I'm so sorry life gave you such a difficult path. I was born without parents too. I may not be able to love you the way your real mother could have, but I promise I will take care of you, and love you, like you were my own." In that moment, it no longer mattered that they weren't related by blood. They had become a family, three broken pieces that somehow fit together perfectly. That night, there was laughter, shared stories, and the kind of peace that feels like a soft blanket over tired shoulders. A moment of stillness in a world that rarely offers it. But peace, like everything else in life, is never guaranteed. One morning, as the wind changed and the clouds gathered above the horizon, James's phone rang, again and again. He hesitated before answering. It was a call from his former life, the corporate world he had walked away from. James had once been a successful CEO, a man with influence and power. But he had traded it all for this quiet life in the countryside. For a family made not by blood, but by choice. James. The project in Singapore is collapsing. We need you. It's urgent. Diep stood by the doorway, silent. She heard it all. Her heart sank. Though her face remained composed, she knew the truth, that this simple life was never meant to hold a man like James forever. The peace they had found was beautiful, but fragile. Like a bubble catching the sunlight for a brief moment before it popped. James turned to Nee, who was finishing a drawing of the three of them, labeled Dad, Mom, and me in clumsy, adorable handwriting. I have to go, he said quietly. Diep turned away to hide her tears. Nee ran into his arms, sobbing. Don't go, Uncle James. Mom and I will be so sad. James couldn't answer. He leaned down and kissed her forehead gently, the way a father would. The air grew still. Outside, the clouds turned darker. That was the end, not of their love, but of their time together as it was. Love had brought them together. But would love be enough to keep them together? They didn't know. No one ever really does. Because sometimes, happiness is just a quiet pause between two storms. And in this story, the storm had finally arrived.